Hi guys, today we are doing estimation. Right, okay. The only thing you need to know about estimation to get these questions correct is that you must only use one significant figure. That is incredibly important. Okay, now I'll do a 30 to 40 second reminder of that before we do three examples of an exam type question of estimation, and that should be that for you to understand it. Right, firstly, if I had, for example, 842, if I was going to estimate that, I'd do one significant figure. That will be my 8. That's my one significant figure. I then do a line and I look to the right of that number. It's a 4. So I say to myself, is that 5 or more? Because it is not 5 or more, that means that the 8 will stay the same. Meaning that becomes 8. These two now disappear and become zeros. So that becomes 800. Similarly, if I had 87, for example, one significant figure, because it will say estimation, I would look at my 8, I would draw a line, the number to the right of it, the 7, is it 5 or more? Because it is 5 or more. That's going to round the 8 up to a 9, so that will become 90. Okay, this one looks more complicated. Let's say 3.84236. It looks much more difficult, but if I'm estimating it, I just do one significant figure. That's my 3. So I look at my 3, I do a line, I look at my number to the right of it, I'll say, is it 5 or more? The answer is yes, it is. Therefore, I must round it up, the 3, to a 4. I can either put 4.00000 or simply just put 4. Okay, now the one slight difficulty people might have with this concept is when we estimate a number like this, 0.06923. Right, we know that estimate means one significant figure. That's fine. That is not the 0. When it starts with a 0, you do not include that first number. And if the next number is a 0, you don't include that one either. In fact, the first significant figure for this number is 6. So I do my line after the 6. I then look to the number to the right of it. I say to myself, is it 5 or more? Because it is, that means that I'm going to round up the 6. So that will become 0.07. I wouldn't need to put 000 here. I could do, but I don't need to at all. So 0.07 is my answer. Okay, so that's a reminder of how to do one significant figure. Now let's do 3 examples of exam questions varying in difficulty. Right, the first one should be fine for us. It's estimate 48 times by 22. Right, same thing. The second we see that, we know it means one significant figure. So therefore I look to my first significant figure, I do a line, the 8 would round up the 4 because it's 5 or more, so therefore that becomes 5, and therefore 50, times by, that's my first significant figure. The 2 wouldn't round up the 2, so that becomes 20. Without a calculator, 5 times 2 is 10, put a 0 from there, and a 0 from there, and we're good to go. That's our final answer. A slightly more difficult one in the exam would say estimate 8.3 times 4.99 over 9.98. Looks complicated. Don't waste your time by doing the actual maths to that. You see the word estimate, you know it means one significant figure, so that's exactly what you do. 8 is the first number, you do a line down, the 3 wouldn't round that up, so it would stay as 8. The 4 is my one significant figure, so therefore the 9, I'd look towards that. It would round up the 4 to make it a 5. And then again here, the 9 is my significant figure here, so I do a line down. Again, the 9 is 5 or more, so it would round that one up to 10. Step by step here, 8 times 5 is 40, divided by the 10, which is just 4. Right, the last example I'm going to go through is the most difficult, and the one that people would make the most mistakes on, I'm assuming. I do estimate. Now actually I'm going to keep these first two numbers the same here. 8.3 times 4.99, but this time I'm dividing by 0.47. Okay, so we know the first two numbers from there, so therefore we know it's going to be 8 and times 5. Now, remember what I said about the weird example in the about 2 minutes ago. The first number, when we do one significant figure, needs to be the first number that we see, apart from if it starts with 0. So therefore I'm not counting that as my first significant figure. I'm counting the 4 as my first significant figure. So therefore I look to the right of it, 7. 7 is 5 or more. So that's going to round up the 4 to make it a 5. So that becomes 0.5. Okay, so that's the first place we could make a mistake. 8 times 5 we know is 40. We divide it by 0.5. Again, you stop and you say to yourself, I need to be careful here. I'm going to rewrite that underneath here. 40 divided by 0.5. Right. In order to make this as kind of helpful and practical as I can here, I'm going to make the 0.5 into a whole number. Now for that, I've got to times it by 10 to make it a 5. Okay? If I times this side by 10, when I divide, I've got to also times that side by 10. So that becomes 400 divided by 5. Now some of you could do it in your head, others of you need bus stop method. If I was doing bus stop method right now, I'd do 5 divided by 400. 5 into 4 doesn't go. 5 into 40 goes 8 times. 5 into 0 goes 0 times. So therefore, 400 divided by 5 is 80. Therefore, 40 divided by 0.5 is also 80. Final answer. Okay? Have a relook at these examples if you need to, and good luck with the exam questions.